Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And for my French speaking people, bonjour ou bonsoir. Hacks here with part two to the CSS, to the intro to CSS that I did earlier this week. I mean, I just want to say thank you for everybody who watched. I'm sure I impacted some knowledge. I'll respond to any comment you have. And yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Let's roll it with the intro.css or externally. So first of all, naturally, you can call it straightforward. Text align, oops, text align center, and I'm gonna give it a border box, a border, 1 pixel, 1 pixel. Oh no, let me make it 5 pixels thick so you can see what I'm talking about. Solid. Um, let me choose maybe red, just like that. Boom. All right, so now let's see how it looks like. Oops. All right, you gotta save it. Please note, you gotta save it. So you can do this by saving it, save all. Yeah, and then it's 6. Or you can press Control S individually. All right, so now boom, let's see it. So there's no padding or margins or anything. I'm gonna talk about that very soon. But yeah, this is it. This is the box we made. The borders were 5 pixels thick. We have the my name is Hakz. To prove that this is centered, I'm gonna remove it in the tag. Oops. Alright, okay. Yeah, I'm commenting this off. You can press Control / for this, and then you save it. Boom. See, it's not centered anymore. But when I press Control Z, that means undo. Boom, boom. It's centered again. And isn't that great? Yeah, I think it is. Alright, so that was an introduction to border, by the way. Yeah. Okay. So those were the ways to link CSS to your HTML. So we had the inline with this line of code, and then we had the internal, which is inside the HTML page, and then we had the tag for it, and then we had the third one, the external one, the best one in my opinion and professionally. This right here with that, boom, and we're clean. That's clean CSS, by the way. Okay, now let me talk about the syntax. What is all this I'm writing right here? So I'm gonna type how the syntax is. This is not exactly how you write it, like when you wanna do something. Note I use different tags. Alright, so now the tags go like this. I mean the syntax goes like this. Selector, boom. And then in here we have the property. And then you use a semicolon. That is very important. Property and then the value of the property. And then, so I'm going to talk about selector. So the selector, or what the selector is basically it points to the HTML. Like this, the simplest of examples will be the H2 we use here. Notice this H2. I mentioned earlier that it was the selector tag. So this H2 here, its selector is H2. If I change it, it will not affect it because it's not been called in the CSS. So basically, what it is some sort of hook. It basically hooks to the CSS. So it's the only way to link it. You might link it like this, yes, but if you have the wrong selector name, it's not gonna work. To prove it to you, I'm going to change this to H3. Boom. See, nothing happens. Nothing happens. But when I change it back to H2, boom, it's working again. So that's for selectors. So now, this whole block, it's called a declaration block. From this opening curly brace to the closing brace, curly brace. Okay, so now let's talk about what's in the declaration block. Contains property and value. So the selector is the name we said, right? It hooks to the HTML page. And then now we have the property. The property actually defines the selector, right? So it defines the selector like we use here, color. Color is a property of H1. Or let me make it more home. Let me make it come home. So we have a human. Let's use a human. Human person is a selector, right? And now the property of that person, let's say a man, the properties of a man is maybe he has muscles. This is just reference sake. Please do not flame me in the comment sections. So yeah, let's say the man is the selector. So let me make it more visual. So the man is a selector. And let me make it not confusing, right? I'm gonna send it to CSS. Do not write your CSS code in the HTML page straightforward unless you use the methods I mentioned earlier. Okay, so now we have a man. The man is a selector, right? So now the property of a man is muscle, right? Okay, let me change it. So let me use the property hair. Okay, hair. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the value. The value now describes or gives a meaning to the property. So basically, his hair is black, right? The man's hair is black. Get it? The man is a selector. The hair is the property of that man. Like, I'm not saying other people don't have black hair, but I'm just using it for reference sake. So it's the man's hair is black. So that's how you define it or give it a value. So now that was selector properties and values. That was very simple. Okay. If you don't understand anything, please let me know in the comment section. Okay, so I'm now gonna go ahead and mention a few CSS properties that are very popular, things you basically use on a daily basis. Okay, but before that, we're gonna talk about the types of selectors we have. Okay, so now we have the class selector. I did not mention this earlier, but we have an attribute called class, and in CSS you need classes to hook them up. Basically, as we progress and we make more interesting things with the videos to come, I'm gonna make it understandable, like visually. All right, and then we have the ID selector. They both do the same thing, but the difference is that one of them uses a dot operator and the second one does not use a dot operator. It uses a hash. Okay, so now we also have others like the universal selector and the grouping selector. Now I'm going to talk about them one by one. Okay, so now if you want to write a class, there's a tag for it. It's called div. Okay, so basically a div tag defines the division of a section in an HTML document. So what that simply means is you're gonna make them into blocks, simple blocks. So let's say you put them in shelves, right? You have a shelf and you put books in them. you put different books according to categories. For example, let me bring it home. We have a nav bar, a navigation bar in every web page, usually a standard web page. So now you're gonna put the nav bar in one div tag or a block, and put that in your mind like that. You make it a block. So that's very simple. You make it a block, and then you put the information in it, the nav bar information. And then now you move it down to the main content of it, which will be a different tag, a different div tag. And then you move it down and further according to how your HTML page or your web page will look like. So yeah, that's very simple. So now I'm going to show you in Visual Studio. There's a shortcut for it. I'm going to show you later. So the div tag right here, you go back, you call the class attribute, and now you can name anything for a class. You can, like, a class can be named anything you want. So now I'm going to call this block, just for reference sake, the block. Okay. So now I'm going to use a p tag. Let me remove all this to make it clean for us. All right, I'll make it clean for us. All right. Okay. We're gonna use the external because I feel more comfortable and it's the best way to work. Okay. Change this to, yeah, alright, this works. Alright, so I have my block div, or my class block, should I say. So I'll call this, okay, so I'm gonna just say welcome to my YouTube channel. Alright, welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, so now we save this. And then boom, we have welcome to our YouTube channel. So now there's nothing special about this, right? Okay, there is not. But when you go to your inspect right here, inspection, all right, so we have this. Well, this is the block, right? This is the block. You see, it's a block, it's blocky shaped from the I don't know if it's orange. You can see the orange around the welcome to my YouTube channel. That shows that it's in the block, right? Okay, simple enough. So now, let's end the video right here. This is for the part 2. There's going to be a part 3. So I think you should hang on for it. I'll drop it in 2 days time. I'm sorry to keep you hanging again, but like I said in the previous video or in the beginning, I want to keep your attention span. So thank you very much for watching, and then stay tuned for part 3. I'm Hakz, and peace out, brothers and sisters. All right.